Hello, how are you doing? This is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com. Hopefully you can hear me okay, you can see me okay. Like I said, I'm trying to make a commitment to do these more often. And like any habit, it's just a case of doing it, isn't it? And putting it into your diary. So it's another daily meeting where we can just come together and kind of share our experiences and share what works, what doesn't work. Also, free to ask me any questions at all. If you're just starting out on this journey and you need some advice, if you have a very specific problem or challenge, then post your questions and I'll do my best to answer. And likewise, if you're here because you are a long time sober and you know what it feels like to be trapped in the loop of alcohol addiction, and more importantly, you know how to escape it, then your tips and suggestions are very much welcome because I know it helps a lot of other people. Most people won't see this live because of time zones and things like that. It's 12:30 in the afternoon for me here, probably 10:30 in the UK. Not sure what time it is where you are, but most people will see a re-recording of this. So please do share your tips and advice. So open for questions, comment wherever you're watching and I'll do my best. Also wanted to talk about this blog post from a while ago on my website, StopDrinkingExpert.com, and that is the story that alcohol helps with social anxiety. A lot of people state this to me. A lot of people say, I want to quit drinking, but if I quit drinking, I'm going to become some sort of recluse. I'm going to not leave the house because I haven't got the confidence to go to parties, to go to social occasions. I will just stand on my own and be shy and quiet, and I need a drink in order to socialize. So I wanted to talk today about whether that's true. Does alcohol help with social anxiety? And the answer is yes, because I can't say anything other than that, because you've got evidence to prove otherwise. You know that you've had a better time at a party when you've drank alcohol. But the problem with this, and the problem with all benefits of drinking, is that they're so short-lived and they're so tiny in comparison to the payback that you have to pay. It's not a balanced scale. It's not like you get help with your social anxiety and the payback for that is you feel a bit ill the next day. It's not balanced. And with all of the perceived benefits we get from alcohol, there is a massive kick in the arse waiting for you as a result of the tiny little benefit that you got. It's getting warm in here. Let's turn that off. So for the social anxiety situation, we have to take a step back and see it from above, really, to understand what's really going on. Because if you think about it, what you're actually doing is you are making yourself stupid. We tend to say that it gives us courage. You know, alcohol gives you Dutch courage. We even have a word for it. It makes us brave. It makes us more confident. That's all bullshit. That's all shiny wrapping to disguise the fact that what you're actually doing is you're making yourself stupid. And because you're stupid, you no longer are capable of doing an effective risk assessment. You're no longer capable of looking at a situation and saying, this is the correct way to behave. And that's why, you know, yeah, you can drink alcohol, but what is the consequence of that? If you're at a works party, I mean, Boris Johnson doesn't know whether he's at a works party or a big party. You can't work it out. Maybe it's the alcohol, but if you're at a works party, this is why you say the wrong thing to the boss. This is why you say the wrong thing to the person that pays your wages. If you're at a social occasion, this is why you say things inappropriate. You offend people occasionally. Some sexual misconduct goes on. People cheat and have affairs, all because of alcohol that they needed to help them with their social anxiety. So there is a consequence. There is a price to pay for that little tiny uptick in your sense of confidence. And it's an illusion because you're not more confident. You've just found a way to pretend that you are. When the alcohol wears off, you're just as shy and quiet and worried and anxious as you were before. So you're not getting better. You're not growing as a person. You're not developing and becoming more confident. You're just sedating yourself and staying in this low position. You know, when you quit drinking, it forces you into some uncomfortable areas, but every time you're outside your comfort zone, you grow a bit, you become a bigger person, you become a better person. And that includes being able to socialize without having to drink an anesthetic first. Let's say hello to a few people. I'm being very rude here. Rhubarb, let's make some coffee and listen. The coffee is on the go. Julia, I'm 7 months sober. In a great part to finding you on YouTube. Had my first Christmas and New Year sober. I honestly have to laugh at the thought of the title. I felt super confident and comfortable. Yeah. And the other people just looked funny to me, and they all felt like poop the next day. I didn't. Yeah. I mean, when you step outside the bubble, Julia, and you see what people do as though it's normal, you know, if aliens watch this from above, or we explained it to them, when we go out on a night, before we go out, we have to drink this poison that makes us stupid. They would say, why? And we'd go, oh, it helps with the social anxiety. And they would say, well, how does being stupid help you feel more confident? It doesn't make any sense. But this is the lie that the whole Western world has agreed. That's the truth. Alcohol helps you at a party, makes you less shy. It's called Dutch Courage. I can't read your name. What is it? I can't read it. So let's put it up there, and then people can read it for themselves. It's called Dutch Courage. I already suffer from anxiety, and alcohol makes it a lot worse. The panic attacks in the morning that I get, that bad that you think you're having a heart attack. I know that feeling. It's not nice. You genuinely think you're about to die, don't you, when you're in the middle of a strong panic attack like that? It's true. And thank you for the comment. And yeah, in this article, we talk about Dutch courage. You know where the phrase Dutch courage comes from? I talk about this at boot camp a lot. There's various interpretations of where the story started, but basically it comes back from olden times when there were lots of wars going on, and they used to say the English were fighting the French or something like that, or the English were fighting the Dutch in this case. The English generals would try and spread this story that the English army were the best in the world. Nobody was as strong as the English army. For example, the Dutch army were a pale comparison. And they would suggest that in order for foreign armies to even be brave enough to take on the English, they would have to get drunk first, aka Dutch courage. And this all goes back to a time when armies, part of the salary of being a soldier back in the day was alcohol. You would get some money and you would get alcohol as a part of your pay. And the reason they did that was not because they knew their soldiers liked alcohol, but if you think about it, this is back in the day when war meant you were basically running across a field with a sharp object at another person who also had a sharp object. If you were in the front line of battle, you were going to die. And not just die, you're going to die a horrible, grisly, gruesome death. So what do you want from your soldiers at that point when you tell them that you're going to war? You don't want a load of really clear-headed, intelligent people who have the ability to scrutinize what you're saying. Because any sane person would go, you want me to do what? No, I'm not doing that. That's ridiculous. So what they used to do is they used to give the army a healthy ration of rum or gin or some alcohol, fire them up with this kind of false bravado that they were invincible, and send them off charging over the field to get hideously murdered. They gave them alcohol to make them stupid, to make them compliant. So when you think about it like that, there's no courage in Dutch courage. There's no bravery as a result of alcohol. There is only stupidity. And some would argue this is why governments don't ban alcohol. If you ban alcohol, first of all, you're going to have an uprising that you don't want to deal with. But secondly, it's kind of in the interests of our politicians that half the population is sedated and not really thinking and only focused on when they're going to drink next. That kind of works for our corrupt politicians, doesn't it? You don't want an entire population who are really switched on and savvy and know exactly what you're doing and are monitoring your behavior. That's no good for politicians because they are corrupt. And so it's in their interest to keep the population drunk. Let's say hello to a couple of people. Hi to JR. Welcome in, JR. Laura, Thank you very much. I'm going to come back to your comment in a bit, and Brandon's here as well. I just wanted to tell you one more thing about this Dutch courage lie that we tell ourselves. I live in Cyprus, and my house here is about 40 minutes away from a party town. There is a town in Cyprus called Ayia Napa. If you're from Europe, you've probably heard of it. It's basically nightclub central. It closes completely in the winter, but in the summer, every other outlet is a nightclub or a bar. And when you go to Ayia Napa and buy one drink, they give you 10 shots free. One drink, 10 shots free. I mean, it's local brew. I mean, it's probably petrol, but it's carnage in Ayia Napa. Every morning, the day starts with them swilling down the streets to get rid of all the vomit. But every year, at least a handful of young men die in Ayia Napa. You know how? From trying to jump from one hotel balcony to the next, trying to show off to the girls because they're drunk. And because they're drunk, they think they can do it. At least a handful of guys die every year attempting to jump from one balcony to the next. Now, let me ask you a question. Is that brave? Are they super brave guys? Are they courageous? Or are they really, really stupid? So this lie that we propagate, that we need alcohol to socialize, is a lie. We just choose to be a bit stupid, so we're not aware, so we're not capable of making correct decisions. And this is why parties end up with, parties start off nice, but oftentimes parties end badly. Someone has a fight, someone cheats on a partner, someone says something inappropriate, someone ends up crying. Does this all sound familiar? This is because alcohol removes our ability to correctly judge the situation. So we're all just wandering around like stupid zombies. So does alcohol help with social anxiety? Yes, but in a really shitty way is the answer. Hi, Laura. Laura Sheraton, been sober for 14 months, except 2 slip-ups, one being last night. What caused it, Laura? What made you, how did the clown get you? Because he's good. And, what he says to you is different than what he'll say to everyone else. How did he get you? And it normally starts with something that seems entirely justified. Like you'll have a really bad day at work. Your boss will shout at you. You'll maybe get a warning or something like that. You get home, the kids have smashed up the kitchen. Your partner hasn't done what they were supposed to do. And you get that voice in your head that says, excuse me. You get that voice that says, come on, you deserve it. You've had a bad day. Just got to recognize it for what it is. This clown knows you very well, knows exactly how to pull the triggers and push the buttons. But I'd be fascinated to know how he got you. Is it true that the brain almost recovers from alcohol devastation after 2 years? Not really. To a certain extent, yes. But the problem is with brain cells is they don't really regenerate. You're born with billions and billions and billions, and slowly over time you destroy them, not just with alcohol, but just aging and various other things. And they don't regenerate quite as effectively as the liver does. So you can do quite a lot of long-term damage. But having said that, stopping drinking will stop the further progression of that damage. B, it will stop the deficiency in vitamins and minerals that are causing memory problems and brain function problems, like vitamin B12. You hear of really heavy alcoholics who get something called alcoholic wet brain, and it almost appears like they've got Alzheimer's or some mental disorder, because they slur their speech, they can't remember things, they repeat themselves. And sometimes when you've got an old person who's an alcoholic, it's difficult to tell whether they've got Alzheimer's or alcoholic wet brain, but it comes from alcohol preventing the body absorbing key vitamins that prevent that happening. So if you quit drinking, You may not reverse all the damage, but you will significantly improve your mental faculties, that's for sure. Alcohol. Brandon says alcohol lies to your brain when it comes to social anxiety. Alcohol lies about everything. Every single benefit of alcohol is a lie, if you think about it. I mean, let's stay with social anxiety here. When you've got guys and girls in a nightclub and the guys are attracted to the girls, but they're not confident enough to approach them, what do? They drink until they feel they're now ready to go and approach the girl. And they come over and they're a stumbling drunk. And I don't know about you, but there's nothing less attractive than someone drooling, stumbling, slurring their words, trying to say something and not being able to, smelling of alcohol. So the very thing that they wanted, the alcohol promised it could help them get, it steals from it at the last moment. So it's a lie. Everything is a lie. It's just this illusion that we're trapped in. Thanks for the post, though, Brandon. If you're just joining the feed at this point, you can ask me anything. I'll stay on as long as you need me to. When the questions slow down, I will end, and I'll promise to do another one at another time. But if you need any help or advice, or you've got any questions about where you are on the journey, then please post them up. I'll do my best to give you an answer. Let's see what JR has to say here. The Western world scares me sometimes. It's such a problem. The leaders of the world also have this problem and can't see. It's pretty depressing, isn't it? I don't know where you're from, JR. Obviously, I'm British, but I don't live there anymore. I mean, it's like a circus show. It's really scary. It's kind of funny, but then when you think about it, it's not. Who we got here? Anata. Today's 13 days sober. Tried more than 10 times to quit. You amateur. 10 times. I joined your course. Hope it will help me get sober. Thanks, Craig. Love from Nepal. Beautiful part of the world. Yeah, look, everyone who arrives at my course has tried dozens of times to quit drinking on their own. Most people arrive at my website kind of defeated. And a lot of the time they're stuck between a rock and a hard place because they know they're addicted to alcohol. They know it's destroying their life. A lot of them have tried AA and it didn't work for them. And now they're thinking, well, where do I go next? Rehab? I can't afford rehab. It's $50,000. Where do you go? You can go to the doctor, but I don't know what your doctor's like. When I went to my doctor, when I finally plucked up the courage and went to my doctor and I said, I'm really worried about my drinking. He said, how much are you drinking? I told him and he said, you're all right. I drink more than that. So I left, like thinking, well, what now? I've been to my doctor and he laughed at me. So where now? So don't worry about the fact you've tried many times. Just keep trying. That's the main thing. Never stop trying. You will find the solution that works for you, and hopefully it is the course you've just invested in. I'm socially awkward, and alcohol makes me more likable. Yeah, it's true. I remember I destroyed a friendship, a very good friendship, completely destroyed it in one night. I had a friend in the northeast of England. We used to go out often, and I got very, very drunk one night, and I just laid into him. I just attacked him, not physically, but I verbally ripped him apart. I don't know why to this day. He was the nicest guy I'd ever met. I ripped him apart. I accused him of everything. And I woke up in the morning and this horrible feeling just came over me. I was like, oh, what have I done? And I rang him and apologized, and he accepted my apologies. And you know what? I didn't speak to him ever again. He never contacted me again. So there's your social lubricant for you. Johnny Cola, you saved me from becoming a full alcoholic. I made the mistake of believing I would have a seizure if I stopped. Yeah, a lot of people do that. But the industry propagates that story as well. I get at least once a week, I get an email from someone who's furious with me. And they're saying something like, you're an idiot. You're a bloody idiot. How dare you suggest people just stop drinking? You're going to kill people. Because there is this agreed upon narrative that stopping drinking kills you. And all I'm saying is, yeah, it could. But in the same way as getting in a car could kill you. It's not the default outcome of your action. It doesn't mean if you get in a car, you're going to die. Also, it doesn't mean if you stop drinking, you're going to die. It depends on your personal situation. And 99% of the people who come to me for help are not physical alcoholics. They're not physically addicted to the drug. They are psychologically addicted. They are problem drinkers. And when these people stop, the sort of people who are drinking to cope with stress and anxiety and things like that, not because they physically can't operate without alcohol. When these people stop, they get a withdrawal sensation that is uncomfortable, but no more than mild anxiety. They don't drop down dead immediately. Anyway, thank you very much for your comment, Johnny, and congratulations. Keep going. Keep going. By the way, can I ask you, are these meetings helpful? Because I didn't do them for a long time because I was busy with other stuff and various other reasons. Is it helpful for us to get together on a regular basis? Let me know. If you say no, I won't do them. Miko, what is your view on naltrexone? Okay, there are kind of two drugs, prescription drugs to help with alcohol addiction. One of them is naltrexone, and the other one is antabuse. In the boot camp and in the course, I say that I don't encourage them. I don't advocate for them because on one level, taking a drug to deal with a drug problem doesn't make a whole heap of sense to me. My view on this has changed somewhat. It didn't work for me. That's all I'll say to you. And antabuse didn't work for me. And I'll tell you why. First of all, antabuse is a drug that makes you allergic to alcohol. I don't know if you know this, but many Asian people are allergic to alcohol. It's in their genetics. And a lot of Asian people cannot drink alcohol. If they do, their face goes bright red. I had a friend at school who was like this. He was called Andy. His face would go bright red if he tried to drink alcohol. It's because it's in their genetics that they're allergic to alcohol. And antabuse creates the same effect, but much worse, like 100 times worse. If you drink alcohol when you're taking antabuse, you're going to have a very horrible time and you're going to put your life at risk. When I tried antabuse, I tested it and it really knocked me on my back. I couldn't look at any light. I was photosensitive. I had a screaming migraine. My heart was beating so fast that I thought I was about to have a heart attack. I was sweating. I was so hot. All my skin was red. I had to lie in a dark room until it went away. I was in a dark room for about 3 hours until the sensation went away. It was the most horrible experience. And it stopped me drinking for about 5 days. And then I started saying, well, I've been good. Why don't I? And then those reasons got more and more. I'll be like, well, it's the dog's birthday, so I won't take a tablet today, and we'll celebrate with a bottle of Merlot because the dog loves Merlot, doesn't he? And the bullshit started to get bigger and bigger, and I just found that I wasn't taking it. So antabuse for me didn't work for that reason. I tried naltrexone. The problem I had with naltrexone is the side effects for me personally were so horrible, I couldn't bear to take the tablet. Taking a naltrexone tablet for me would cause rapid heart rate, would cause a headache. It would feel like a really bad hangover. And it's kind of hard, even with the best intentions in the world, to take a tablet that's going to make you feel worse than what you would do if you were drinking. The theory of naltrexone is called extinction theory. It's opioid blocker. It's opioid inhibitor. It's basically, you can get drunk, but you don't get any of the sensations of euphoria. You don't get any buzz when you drink. So you're drinking, you're feeling drunk and wobbly and woozy, but you don't feel happy. You don't feel any of the positives that you've previously associated with drinking. And the theory is, as you drink and continue not to get any good sides, only bad sides, eventually you go, I don't want this anymore. It's crap. And it works for a lot of people. So I would never say don't do it. Do it with medical supervision. If it works for you, great. But I still think there's a better way to do it. And that is by changing your belief structure, which is what I do in my course. So I hope that helps. It's not a big no-no for me. Give it a try, but do it with medical supervision. Girls these days don't mind it. They drink as much as the men these days. They do. And I wanted to share this with you. You know, when we were talking about social anxiety earlier and how you must have a drink to socialize. Look at these pictures. These are pictures from Ladies' Day at the races in England. I think they're from Aintree. Look at these. I mean, Ladies' Day is a traditional day in the racing calendar when the ladies would get dressed up in their best dresses, in their finery, their best hat, and they would all go to the races. It would be a very elegant and show-offy sort of day. It was a very glamorous sort of day. And of course, back in the day, it wasn't the done thing for women to be seen drinking in public. So the men would drink, but the women would be prim and proper, and it would be all about the elegance and the glamour and it was a social occasion in the day. And then equality came along and alcohol became the done thing, the expected thing for both genders. And look what happened to Ladies' Day. Look what happens when you ease social anxiety. This is someone's mum. Yeah. This is someone's, but look at this. This is just, it's funny, but it's not funny, isn't it? This is what happens to ladies when you remove social anxiety at Ladies' Day. Yeah, so you're totally right. And thanks for reminding me to bring that up. Absolute carnage. Let's have a look. Julia, I was just asking if it's helpful to have these kind of regular meetings, because I'm not sure if it helps or not. Julia, yes, it is helpful. I just refreshed my YouTube and this popped up, dropped everything else I was doing immediately. I like to listen to you regularly as it just bolsters my resolve. I'll tell you why I thought about doing this more often, Julia, is I was looking at the AA's website the other day, and I noticed that they do an online meeting like 5 times a day, all different, what's the word? All different like towns who have an AA club. A lot of them will do an online meeting. I guess coronavirus has made this more prevalent, but I noticed that there were like 5 or 6 meetings per day. I actually even went into one and just watched, and nothing much went on really. They read a passage from the big book, and they invited someone to come in and talk about their sobriety, and that was it. There was no kind of coaching. There was no secret revealed or anything like that. It was just a chance for like-minded people to be together. So I thought, okay, maybe we should do that. JR says, of course it helps. A lot of people need to hear this. Thank you, JR. Laura, what I failed to mention the time before was last week. Last week I used alcohol as a tool to ease from a come down from an ecstasy tablet I got for my birthday. So it's a physical grab. That's a really specific situation, Laura. I can't empathize with that one because I've not done that, but yeah. You see what I mean about the clown? He tailors his story exclusively for you. That wouldn't work with me, would it? But it works with you. That's how he got you. So yes, I find them helpful, although this is the first one I've managed to attend as I'm normally at work. That's always a big problem, Laura, time zone differences, because I'm in Cyprus and nobody is in Cyprus apart from me, apparently. Let's have a look what else we got here. Matt Dawson, but you need to enjoy yourself sometimes, don't you, Craig? Yes. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You can enjoy yourself without alcohol. Tell me what you mean by that. Let's have a look at what Connor says. Connor, if anything, drinking destroys your social life when you drive away good people, when the drink brings out your underlying mental health issues and frustrations on them. No benefit whatsoever. It's true, isn't it? Don't you find yourself sometimes at work biting your tongue? Your boss says something and in your head you're saying, you idiot. You're as thick as pig poo. I should have your job. You're useless. How the hell did you get that job? But you don't say it out loud because you're not an idiot. Well, that's not true when you've had alcohol, is it? You do say it out loud. And everyone goes, oh, ignore him, ignore her, she's drunk. But just like my friend who I lost, who accepted my apology, the damage is done. Even if you can say, oh, I didn't mean it, I was drunk. Because often alcohol will reveal the truth. You'll say what you think when you're drunk because you haven't got the mental capacity to see that it would be a very bad idea to make that opinion. 14 Shamel, would you recommend I see a psychiatrist for my alcohol problems? I may have ADHD. I always say there's two parts of this process, Shamel. There's quitting alcohol and then understanding why you were drinking in the first place. I would say probably, I'm just making up a number here, but 80% of people who quit and then go back to drinking do so because they failed to address the reason why they were drinking. Most people, myself included, were drinking for a reason. There is something that's making you unhappy. There's some trauma. There's something there that's making you feel unsettled and you don't like it and you don't want to deal with it. And alcohol popped up and offered you a solution. It said, drink this anesthetic and you won't have to think about this. So if you stop drinking, and to a certain extent, Shamel, alcohol is a solution to your problem at the moment. That's why you're using it. Your subconscious mind has had these sensations and noticed that alcohol kind of takes it away briefly. And so it's put the two together and said, okay, here's your solution. But like we said right at the start of the video, the price you pay for that is infinitely more than the problem you started with. Your health starts going downhill, your relationships fail, your career goes nowhere, your health is all over the place. And so it's a two-step stage. You must stop drinking. And then when you've got clarity and energy and focus, and you're not spending your whole day planning when you're going to drink next, then you need to very seriously do an overview of your life and say, okay, what's good about my life? What's bad? And you can do this with a wheel of life, they call it. And it's got 8 little sections on it. You give yourself a score for how your health is, how your relationships are, how your career is, how your finances are. And that will help you very clearly, visually identify where you've got problems. Then yes, go and get some therapy. Go and see a psychiatrist. Go and get some help to get to the root cause of what was making you miserable in the first place. Only if you do those 2 steps will you have a long-term solution to the problem. Thank you for the comment. Monashi, I don't drink, but I still watch these videos to remind myself why I should never start. You are a very wise man. Thank you for the comment. Matt, what I meant was it had context when I wrote it. Yeah, that phrase from everyone when you, okay, I get what you mean. So Matt was earlier saying, but you need to enjoy yourself sometimes, don't you, Craig? Yeah. But that's, people say that when you're not drinking, and they are. And I had this about 8 years ago. I was at a Christmas party, and this one lady who I worked with just got fixated on me because I wasn't drinking. She spent the whole night coming over to me, telling me that I was boring and that I was spoiling it for everyone else. And I said to her, how does me not drinking affect how happy you are? But she was already drunk by this point. So it was like trying to have an intelligent conversation with a banana. She was just coming out with the same statements over and over again, the likes of, but you need to enjoy yourself sometimes, don't you? So I know what you're saying. But that, the reason people do that is because us not drinking causes them psychological pain. I think deep down, we all know that drinking poison for fun is perhaps not a great life choice. And they, drinkers like safety in numbers. They like to be able to look around and say, well, I can't be that stupid because everyone's doing it. And when you don't drink, it for some reason causes them pain, and they don't know why. They just don't like you, and they don't like what you're doing. It makes so they feel like they have to attack you, even though they won't spend enough time to work out why they feel uncomfortable. But they'll say pretty horrible things sometimes. Sometimes they'll buy you a drink and put it in your hand to try and force you to drink. It's crazy, really. Okay, last couple of questions, and then we'll wrap up for today, and we'll come back another day and do another one. Alex, good videos needed after New Year. 1 year, 2 days. Merch, t-shirts, cartoon. You make them, I'll wear them. Are you sure, Alex? I've thought about this before. this is a weird brand to have because it's not something that people particularly want to go around endorsing publicly. Have you ever seen anyone saying, I go to AA with a t-shirt saying AA is great? It's not something you really want to be, if you're confident enough and proud enough of your sobriety to do it, then fantastic. But I think you're in a pretty small group of people. I think most people want to keep this secret. Well, I'll just make a t-shirt just for you, shall I, Alex? But thanks for the comment. 14 Sham, thank you so much. You're very welcome, my friend. Don't worry, you're going to get this sorted. You'll be fine. Let's have a look. Jane, the freedom you get when you stop drinking, it's just so liberating. And the work you have to put in is nothing when the rewards are coming. Craig's program is the best. Thank you very much for that endorsement, JR. And I have to agree with you. It's when you get free of alcohol, when you get out of that loop of daily drinking, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's like you for the first time in a long time, you feel alive. You start seeing possibilities, whereas before you saw possibilities, but you kind of discarded them because you thought, yeah, but that's going to take some effort, and I think I'd rather just have a drink. So I agree with you. It's an amazing thing when you get this poison out of your life. So let's give the final word here to Manashi. Keep up the good work helping others, Craig. Dating is so hard when you don't drink. Glad I could sympathize with you about getting turned down by a woman because you don't drink. Yeah, the thing is, you got to look at it like it's a good thing. Because if somebody turns you down because they find out you don't drink, you just saved yourself a date. And that's an expensive, time-consuming process. That you don't want to go through it too many times because it gets tedious after a while. So if someone turns you down at the first chance because they found out you don't drink, you just found out you avoided a relationship with a problem drinker. That's a great thing. And look, I'll say this to you. In my opinion, the people that turn up in your life, your relationships, your friends, the people you spend your time with, they are not a reflection of the sort of people that are out there. They are a reflection of how you feel about yourself. When you love yourself and you are at peace with who you are, the partner that reflects that will appear. If you are in turmoil inside, you don't like yourself, and you got a lot of hang-ups and things going wrong in your life, you will get into dramatic, short relationships that seem great but go nowhere. And you'll go from one crappy relationship to the next one. But this is a reflection of your internal state, I believe. Once you find peace, and step one of that is getting alcohol out of your life. And then step two is making peace with all the problems that you have. Once you get into that position, it doesn't matter which dating site you go on. It doesn't matter whether you are out and out sober. You will meet the person you're supposed to be with because it is a reflection of your internal state. And I believe that 100%. Okay. So I think we're going to wrap up there. I will promise to come back at least in the next couple of days, and we'll do another one. So watch out for the YouTube notification. I'll try and give you as much time notice as I can. Thank you very much for being with me today. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button so you get an update when I'm back live. You might want to ring that bell so you get a notification as well. Thanks so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. See you soon.
Imagine if you woke up tomorrow morning, no hangover, no guilt, no regret, just full of energy and vitality. That is the life that is waiting for you. And the best time to get started on this sober journey is right now. And trust me on this, I've been there and done it. I've tried everything, every quirk, every gimmick, every rehab. I've tried AA, prescription medication, hypnosis, cold turkey, willpower, you name it, I tried it. And none of it worked. Until I worked out the secret, the mindset that you have to have if you want to kick alcohol into touch forever. Commit to your happy, sober future right now. Go to the website, stopdrinkingexpert.com/webinar and book your slot on the next free quit drinking coaching program. You'll even get a free copy of my best-selling book, Alcohol Lied to Me, as a gift just for watching the webinar. If you're serious about this, make today the day you do something about it.